Watching this clip, I couldn't help but think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years.
When afterwards, this young lady claimed her, quote, on-air snub proves that you-know-who will not be treated fairly in the upcoming debate.
Welcome back to Glam Spill. This is your host, Jonathan, bringing you the latest celebrity news and gossip. Let's get into it. Just when everyone thought the battle was over, Karoline Leavitt has shaken things up once again. Her first lawsuit against The View sent shockwaves through the industry, exposing behind-the-scenes chaos and sparking a firestorm of backlash. But no one expected her to strike back even harder. Until now. Karoline Leavitt has just filed another lawsuit against The View, and this time, the stakes are even higher. Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and the rest of the panel believed they had weathered the storm, thinking their damage control would put the controversy to rest. They were dead wrong. Karoline isn't backing down, and this latest legal move could be the final blow. What new accusations is she bringing against The View? How are the hosts reacting behind the scenes? And could this finally spell the end for the show? Buckle up, because this has just escalated into the biggest legal battle in daytime TV history. If anyone thought Karoline Leavitt was done, they're in for a rude awakening. Her first lawsuit was already a bombshell, but this could change everything. But this latest legal action, it's even more explosive. According to inside sources, Karoline Leavitt's second lawsuit accuses The View of defamation, workplace harassment, and intentional reputational damage. She claims the hosts and producers didn't just spread outright lies about her. They actively worked behind the scenes to blacklist her from major media appearances. And it doesn't stop there. Court documents reportedly contain damning evidence, emails, text messages, and insider testimonies that allegedly expose The View's deliberate smear campaign. The accusations, false narratives pushed on air to destroy her credibility, secret discussions between producers and media executives to block her from other networks, and targeted harassment, both in public and behind closed doors. And the most shocking claim yet, Karoline's legal team is demanding millions in damages. This lawsuit isn't just about a public apology. If she wins, it could financially cripple the network. The View is now facing a potential massive payout, one that could shake the very foundation of the show's future. Inside sources reveal that ABC executives are in full-blown crisis mode, scrambling to contain the fallout from this legal disaster. Because this isn't just another lawsuit, it's a direct attack on The View's credibility, and the worst part, never saw it coming. The moment news of Karoline Leavitt's second lawsuit broke, chaos erupted on set. The hosts were blindsided. According to insiders, Whoopi Goldberg was the first to get the call, a frantic warning from an ABC executive just minutes before stepping onto the stage. Whoopi Goldberg was stunned into silence before storming off to her dressing room, demanding answers. How did this happen again? Meanwhile, Joy Behar dismissed it at first, brushing it off as a publicity stunt. But as she read through the legal documents, her smug confidence turned into quiet panic. Then came the real meltdown. During a pre-show meeting, tensions exploded. Sunny Hostin confronted the producers, furious that they hadn't been warned. Alyssa Farah Griffin, who has already clashed with her co-hosts over their treatment of conservatives, stayed eerily silent. Meanwhile, Sarah Haynes anxiously checked her phone, seemingly hoping for a PR miracle to make it all disappear. Behind the scenes, pure chaos. Producers scrambled, emails flew, phones rang nonstop, and legal advisors rushed to draft a response before the media could spin the lawsuit further out of control. Then came the biggest shock of all. ABC executives were livid. The network had already spent weeks putting out fires from Karoline's first lawsuit. Now, they were staring down an even bigger disaster. With yet another massive legal battle looming, higher-ups began to ask the tough questions. Did the host go too far? Has The View become a liability? At what point does the controversy outweigh the show's worth? For the first time in years, its future wasn't just uncertain, it was in real jeopardy. And the worst part, no one knew what Karoline was planning next. Behind the cameras, the chaos only escalated. Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar, The View's two most outspoken hosts, were in full-blown crisis mode. The moment Whoopi walked off set, she slammed her dressing room door so hard that staff in the hallway flinched. Sources say she locked herself inside for nearly an hour, pacing furiously, phone in hand, making frantic calls to her legal team. When she finally emerged, Her rage was undeniable. "Are you kidding me? Again?" she snapped, demanding answers. She blamed ABC's legal team for not shutting this down, blasted the producers for keeping her in the dark, and, most of all, set her sights on Karoline Leavitt. Whoopi reportedly went on a tirade, calling Karoline vindictive, dangerous, and determined to destroy the show. But deep down, Whoopi was terrified. This wasn't just bad press. This was a full-blown legal disaster. Meanwhile, Joy Behar was just as shaken, but in her own way. At first, she laughed it off. "Oh, please, another lawsuit? This girl just loves attention." But as she read through the legal details, her confidence started to crack. She began making frantic phone calls, demanding answers from ABC executives. Frustrated, she vented to producers. "How long are we supposed to put up with this? She's making a career out of coming after us." But when she found out that ABC's legal team wasn't confident about handling this one, reality hit hard. By the end of the day, Joy stormed out of the building, overheard telling staffers, "I swear if we lose this one, I'm done." Between Whoopi's fury and Joy's panic, one thing was crystal clear. For the first time, they were genuinely afraid that Karoline Leavitt had the upper hand. And with the lawsuit dominating headlines, it was only a matter of time before The View's internal meltdown turned into a full-blown public humiliation. The moment news of Karoline's lawsuit hit the press, ABC's corporate offices descended into absolute chaos. Phones lit up, emails flooded inboxes. ABC executives were ripped from their meetings and rushed into an emergency strategy session that stretched late into the night. This wasn't just another controversy. This was a full-blown legal crisis. ABC's legal team knew they had a serious problem. Karoline's lawsuit wasn't vague or baseless. It was detailed, strategic, and packed with enough evidence to rattle even the most seasoned attorneys. Then came the bombshells, internal emails leaked, off-air recordings surfaced, and a trail of behind-the-scenes misconduct was being exposed to the public in real time. ABC had faced lawsuits before, but this was shaping up to be a PR catastrophe. Inside ABC's war room, executives scrambled for solutions. At one point, a furious senior VP slammed his fist on the table, demanding answers. "How the hell did we let it get this far?" The legal team's brutal response, "Because no one took her seriously. And now, it's too late to ignore her." Damage control went into immediate effect. Issue a generic statement to downplay the lawsuit. Instruct the View hosts to stay silent on air, no exceptions. Quietly reach out to Karoline's team to explore a private settlement, if she'd even consider one. But the problem? Karoline didn't seem interested in settling. But there was one huge problem. Karoline wasn't backing down. When an ABC representative cautiously reached out to her legal team, the response was short, brutal, and unmistakable. "Karoline has nothing to say to you. We'll see you in court." Full-blown panic set in. ABC executives knew exactly what was coming. A media firestorm, more internal leaks, more public scrutiny than they had ever faced before. For the first time, ABC wasn't just battling a bad headline, they were on the verge of losing complete control of the narrative. And with Karoline standing her ground, refusing to negotiate, it was only a matter of time before this crisis exploded into a corporate nightmare. The moment the lawsuit hit the public, the internet erupted like wildfire. Within minutes, Karoline Leavitt's name was trending across social media. Millions of people were watching, sharing, and reacting in real time. Conservative influencers wasted no time tearing into ABC and The View. And then came the biggest media hit. Fox News ran the headline, "Karoline Leavitt files another lawsuit against The View, and this time, she's not holding back." The Daily Wire wasted no time jumping on the story, blasting out a headline, "ABC executives in full-blown panic after Karoline's bombshell lawsuit. What are they hiding?" Even independent political commentators couldn't stay silent. One conservative YouTuber reacted live, shaking his head in disbelief. "I knew The View was corrupt, but they're finished." Meanwhile, liberal media went into full damage control mode. CNN tried to dismiss it, calling the lawsuit just another political stunt. MSNBC framed Karoline as weaponizing the courts for attention. The New York Times ran an op-ed speculating that powerful conservative figures were secretly backing her case. But there was one massive problem. The public wasn't buying it. People didn't need media spin. They had the receipts, raw legal documents, right in front of them, leaked recordings, playing in real time. Karoline standing her ground, refusing to back down, and the verdict from the people, brutal. For years, The View has been spinning its own narrative, but now the truth is finally catching up to them. ABC thought they could silence Karoline. Big mistake. Now, she's about to make them pay the price. Viewers who never even watched The View were speaking out. "I've never watched this show in my life, but this lawsuit? It makes me hate them even more." Because think about it. How bad does it have to be for someone to sue you twice? Then came the memes, and they were ruthless. A photoshopped image of Whoopi Goldberg holding a lawsuit captioned, "Incoming." A clip of Joy Behar fake laughing, with the text, "Joy when she realizes she might actually get fired this time." A picture of ABC's headquarters edited to look like it was on fire. By midday, the lawsuit was the #1 trending topic in America. By nightfall, conservative media had locked in, running wall-to-wall coverage. By the end of the week, the lawsuit dominated the news cycle, with commentators on both sides debating its massive implications. And ABC, they were losing the war. No amount of PR spin, damage control, or corporate maneuvering could stop the storm, because the internet had already picked a side, and this time, it wasn't with The View. As the lawsuit kept gaining momentum, one question became impossible to ignore. Can The View survive this? For years, the show had pushed through scandals, firings, and waves of public backlash. But this was different, because this time, it wasn't just an on-air controversy. It was legal, it was explosive, and it was dragging ABC into uncharted territory. Behind the scenes, ABC executives were in full-blown crisis mode. Leaked internal emails exposed the chaos. Network bosses scrambling to control the damage. Emergency meetings were called, and some top executives were reportedly livid at Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar for pulling the show into yet another firestorm. But the real disaster? Advertisers were getting nervous. Major sponsors had already started reevaluating their contracts, some even quietly pulling their ads. Because this wasn't just a PR nightmare. This was a financial catastrophe. And as every major network knows, when sponsors walk, shows get canceled. Ratings for The View had already been slipping, relying on controversy just to stay relevant, but this time, it backfired. Loyal viewers who once stood by Whoopi and Joy were now questioning everything. And the conservative audience ABC had ignored for years, they were leading the charge, calling for the show's cancellation. Then came the biggest warning sign yet. Insiders at ABC started murmuring about a major shakeup. Rumors swirled that top executives were considering drastic moves, possibly removing key hosts or even shutting down The View entirely. Then, an industry insider dropped a bombshell. The View is officially on life support. If this lawsuit picks up any more momentum, ABC may have no choice but to pull the plug. For the first time in decades, the unthinkable was being openly discussed. The View might actually get canceled. Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar tried to brush off the reports, treating it like just another scandal that would blow over. But behind closed doors, they were panicking, because they saw the writing on the wall. A BC couldn't afford another lawsuit. ABC couldn't afford another controversy. And, most importantly, ABC couldn't afford to keep leading viewers. For years, The View had thrived on drama. But now, the drama was devouring them. And the person responsible for putting them in this impossible position? Karoline Leavitt. She had exposed the show's hypocrisy. She had shattered its carefully curated image. And now, she was forcing ABC to make the toughest decision yet. Would they stand by their controversial hosts, knowing it could cost them the show? Or would they cut ties to save themselves? Because at this point, it wasn't just about Karoline Leavitt's lawsuit. It was about whether The View could survive at all. As the lawsuit sent shockwaves through the media landscape, everyone was waiting for Karoline Leavitt's next move. Would she respond? At first, ABC executives dismissed Karoline's legal action as just another political stunt. They assumed the controversy would fade, that the media cycle would move on. But they were dead wrong. This time, the story wasn't going away. The internet was still on fire. Major conservative outlets covered every new development, while even some left-wing pundits were forced to admit the severity of the situation. And every time Whoopi and Joy Joy tried to spin the narrative in their favor, more people went back and watched the original clips. And the more they watched, the more obvious it became. This wasn't just about Karoline Leavitt, this was about The View itself. For years, the show had operated with impunity, building its reputation as a platform for strong women with strong opinions. But now, those same opinions had landed them in serious legal trouble, and ABC was being forced to ask the uncomfortable question, was it worth keeping Whoopi and Joy on air if it meant dragging the entire network into the fire? Behind closed doors, the panic inside ABC's offices was undeniable. Top executives were holding emergency meetings, scrambling for a way out of the mess. Would Whoopi and Joy be temporarily suspended to cool down the controversy? Would ABC issue a statement distancing itself from their behavior? Or was the unthinkable actually on the table? Was ABC finally considering cutting ties with Whoopi and Joy altogether? For the first time ever? That question wasn't just being asked by critics. It was being whispered inside the very network that had spent years protecting them. And Karoline, she was only getting started. The lawsuit had already rattled the industry, but those close to her legal team hinted that this wasn't just about a single case. There were rumors that other guests, past and present, were watching closely. Some had already reached out privately, questioning whether now was the time to come forward with their own stories. Because what if this wasn't just about The View? What if Karoline's fight was about to spark a larger reckoning across the media industry? One thing was certain, ABC had lost control of the narrative. The View's hosts were in full panic mode. Their audience was turning against them, and Karoline Leavitt, she was holding all the cards. The only question left was, would The View survive this scandal, or was this the beginning of the end? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more breaking updates. Stay tuned for the next video.